Yeah, no, I didn't wake up like that. Actually, it was more like this. Just like I had a hard time waking up, going through an awakening isn't as easy as Instagram makes it seem. From my personal experience, waking up can be very painful. In spirituality, they call this the dark night of the soul. It's like being thrown into a very deep dark hole. Suddenly, the life you were living feels unbearable. Like something is missing, but you don't even know what. As if everything that once felt important now seems meaningless. You feel lost, you feel empty, like you'll never make it through, as if the only light you had left was just gone. So, today let's talk about what awakening really means and how not to lose your mind while you go through one. By the way, I apologize in advance for my nails. I know they're very crusty, but I'm just so bad at putting nail polish. Anyway, if I had to describe awakening, I would say that it's kind of like that moment where you realize that Santa Claus wasn't real. Wait, what? Oh, I'm sorry, I thought you knew. Well, now you know. Joke aside, we could say that that was your first awakening. I think waking up is actually a normal process that happens as we go through life. We've all had that moment where we suddenly realize something deeper about life that we once didn't realize as a child. It might be because of what adults have told us or haven't told us, to protect us, or sometimes simply because they themselves didn't fully wake up to life, because of their own biases and beliefs. Then those beliefs became our beliefs, shaping our life and how we see and interact with the world around us. Waking up is in a more simpler way, realizing deeper truths about ourselves, about others, and the world around us. Oh, wait, but isn't that just called growing up? Okay, you might be wondering, wait, isn't this just about spirituality? And, well, if you've seen my videos, you know that I'm all about spirituality, but I would say that I have a more Cartesian approach. Descartes would be very proud of me. I think you don't need to believe in chakras or past lives to experience an awakening. Awakening is simply seeing things more clearly. Imagine being trapped in a cave your whole life, staring at shadows on the wall. You don't question them because why would you? It's all you've ever known. To you, this is reality. But one day, something happens. Maybe for some reason, a small doubt creeps in. So, for the first time, you decide to walk out of the cave. And when you do, you realize that everything you thought was real were just shadows. Realizing this at first can be very painful and confusing, because your eyes need time to adjust to the light. The thing is that it's not that the world itself has changed, but it's your perception of it. Okay, I bet most of you already know Plato's allegory of the cave, but I couldn't start this video without it because it's not just a classic in philosophy, it actually describes some of the biggest ideas in psychology and sociology. The illusion of truth effect, paradigm shift, cognitive dissonance. Don't panic, I'm gonna try to break them down the best I can in this video. From the moment we're born, our family, society, and culture shape our beliefs. Some things are true, some things are lies, and some things are just, well, outdated. For example, if you grew up with a narcissistic parent who constantly told you that you weren't enough, not smart enough, too sensitive, crazy, or ugly, eventually you start to believe it. Not because it's true, but because your brain is wired to believe things that get repeated, even if they're lies. That's what we call the illusion of truth effect. Because of this, you might attract more narcissists, bullies, or toxic people, like a pattern that keeps repeating where you unconsciously look for things that confirm that you aren't enough because you've been told so and believe it, aka confirmation biases. In spirituality, this is more known as limiting beliefs or karmic cycles. For example, when I was younger, I wasn't very confident. Actually, I was very shy. And I kept on believing that I was ugly and dumb. So, surprise, surprise, I kept on attracting bullies and lovers that would just confirm that to me. And even when I would meet amazing people, I would just end up self-sabotaging so that in a way I could confirm to myself that I wasn't good enough. And so even if someone would tell me, oh my gosh, you're so pretty, or you're so intelligent, I would keep on telling myself, no, they're just being nice. Yeah, I'm glad that's not the case anymore. You know, something extremely weird but fascinating that I realized on this journey is that just as confirmation biases exist, in science, paradigm shifts happen when a fundamental way of understanding the world is replaced by a new one. Like how Einstein's theory changed physics. On a personal level, something similar happens when we change the way we see our reality. And in spirituality, I think we could compare it to shifting your vibration. It's kind of like when you go through a breakup and you suddenly see your ex's car everywhere, like a real-life algorithm. Because you brought something to your attention, then suddenly you become aware when you see it. I believe the same goes for everything in life, and this is also why advocates and activists try to bring awareness to people, because once people start being aware, then they can see how those things affect the people around them as well. And as one of my favorite writers once said, the world changes accordingly to the way people see it, and if you alter even by a millimeter the way a person looks or people look at reality, then you can change it. Someone asked me recently on Instagram how I'm just so openly bi, or in general not afraid to speak about my own beliefs and opinions. And I kind of replied that I think that the question is a bit wrong, because I wouldn't ask how, but maybe why. And so if I have to answer why, I would say that I've spent most of my life hiding, afraid of being seen or of just being wrong, until I realized that if we're all playing hide and seek, there must be somebody finding those who are hiding, right? And so maybe that's how I found the courage to speak up. Because I think that when you find the courage to stop hiding, you help others to be found. Just like when you wake up, you help others to wake up. So even if sometimes the road to awakening can be extremely painful, well, it does seem like it's actually a beautiful thing to wake up. And maybe that's why I have a hard time when I hear this.
That woke shit out the window. That word retard comes flying out of these kids' mouths.
Because when did being aware become a bad thing? You know, I really think that just as being self-aware is important for the people around you and yourself, so is being socially aware. Oh wait, but I think someone also said this. Sociology is such a stupid subject compared to psychology. So maybe not. I guess sociology is useless. Just like understanding history, power, and how society functions. Totally unnecessary. So maybe we should also get rid of history and psychology too. Okay, maybe now we just sound like children throwing arguments at each other, hoping that someone's gonna clap. More seriously, what I just did here, that's called rhetoric. I used irony pretending to agree when I was obviously not. And instead of just saying sociology is useful, I pushed the argument further to show how the opposite is silly. That's actually a rhetorical technique. And the public debate is full of this. We all use rhetoric whether we realize it or not. Politicians, advertisers, even internet trolls. Rhetoric at its core is just how language is used to convince, and trying to convince isn't evil, it's a way to communicate ideas. The trick is knowing when it's being used to inform and when it's just being used to manipulate, or even when it gets in the way of real conversations. Because I guess it's easier to say sociology is useless than to have a real conversation about the role of social sciences and what sociology really is. And so maybe that's why defining words is so important. Because a sociologist that hears this,
I'm tired of this woke
would actually be like, woke, what does that even mean? From what I found, the word woke has changed a lot over time. Originally, it meant being aware or literally awake. The phrase stay woke was a reminder in Black communities to stay alert to injustice. But then over the years, it started spreading. More people used it, and somehow it got twisted from its original meaning. Some still saw it as a call for awareness, but others turned it into something to mock, like, oh, you're so woke. Kind of like what happened with the term politically correct. Now, depending on who says it, woke can mean completely different things. It's a word that's been pulled in all directions, and it doesn't quite mean what it used to. Well, isn't that interesting? I already talked about this in one of my videos on how language can be used to control our thoughts. And I think it's getting even more relevant today when we see how terms that are considered woke are being censored. Because when we censor words, we eventually shut down the public debate. And when we shut down the public debate, it gets even harder to seek for the truth and find solutions. But it's not only about rhetoric and being censored. Because even if you're great at spotting it, sometimes you can still stay stuck with your old beliefs. It's like you can see the lies, but it then makes you question your own life. So you enter this phase where you feel very lost, aka cognitive dissonance. In spirituality, a term that is kind of similar would be liminal. It's like you know the truth, but you're in the middle, a phase where you have not fully integrated what you have learned, because it forces you to change. And well, Cypher just said it better.
Ignorance is bliss.
Wow. But is it really? Questioning things can be exhausting. It can make the world feel unstable, uncertain. It's messy. Just like it's never easy when you realize you've been lying to yourself, seeing patterns in your own behavior. And it's just as hard as noticing those same patterns in the world around you. The biases, the contradictions. But still, as someone who loves both psychology and sociology, I believe that questioning, when done correctly, isn't dangerous. It's necessary. We need to ask ourselves personally and as a society, why do I believe this? Who benefits from me believing this? So if I could write to little me, I think I would say, I don't have all the answers, but if there's one thing I've learned, it's this. The most powerful thing you can do is to keep questioning, keep learning, and sharpening your mind. Seeing through all those illusions doesn't mean losing hope, but you'll understand that when the timing is right. If you liked this video, you might like my other videos. You can also follow me on Instagram and subscribe to support my channel, and I'll see you soon.